So today, let's talk about how to start the year strong without overcomplicating it, because I think that's our tendency, is to do all the things at the start of a year.
Yeah, and I know there are probably some agents that are thinking like they're already behind. We're in February right now, and I think if you've been in the industry for any period of time, you know that it's technically the tail end of the prior year where you want to start preparing for that first quarter, right?
Well, October, right? That's our new year, really, in this
Business
industry.
planning starts in October, and what you do today shows up 60, 90 days from now. The reality is you just need to get going. You just need to get started.
That's the problem. We get so frozen in what we need to do that we're just frozen.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, the good news is here we are in February, and if you feel like, wow, what a slump, I didn't do much that end of the year, took a lot of time off for the holidays, that's okay. Now we're at a place where top of the month, top of February, we're still in that first quarter. Take some action now to set yourself up for the spring market, which inevitably is going to get hopefully a surge.
absolutely.
For agents. Personally, I think the best thing that you can always do, because you should have it already started, is put some focus on your database. To me, that's the most simple thing to do.
Amen. And honestly, it's one of those where I love this industry because you can restart at any time.
For sure.
Constantly. I mean, you know me, obviously you're very good. But I constantly restart. Every month I'm like, okay, what didn't work? Get it together. So I do kind of business planning every month where I'm like, okay, what do I got to do different? And you can restart or refocus every month. And today, we're going to talk about 3 things, at least, that every agent should be focusing on right now, first quarter, and the actions they can take. So, you talked about database. Girl, we know that's the heart and soul.
We know from research, we know from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, that the database should be at least 3 pieces of contact information. Does your database have, obviously, that name, but that phone number, that email address, that mailing address, to give you 3 ways to touch base with them? I would say little bonus is if you can add in a social media connection. Do you have a direct link to their Facebook profile, to their Instagram profile? Because you have to find ways to meet people where they are, and you have to find ways to stay in touch with them. I think for a new agent, what gets frustrating is they feel like, okay, I'm new to the business. I got started. I told everyone I'm in real estate, which means I've reached out to my database and I have no business.
Yes.
Well, that's not it. That's
It's
not all we do. So now the next piece is getting the 3 forms of contact information. And for any contact, I think the goal is to get them to an appointment, but that's kind of down the road conversation. I think if you put those names in the database, you have the 3 pieces of contact information. What does the plan look like for follow-ups? 36 touch is our favorite. Finding different ways to communicate. 36 touch. And then beyond that, if you have reached out to your database, you have made that initial connection, great. Now we're going to nurture them, hopefully to the point that they either think of us when they're ready to buy or sell, or refer us to somebody when that person's ready to buy or sell. But your next action is to add more people to that database.
I always joke, and I'm like, it's like Pokemon. You got to collect them all. So, Gary, I'm serious. I always think about that. I got to create something like that. But it's one of those where Gary Keller says, put yourself in the path of people 50% of your time. And then from there, it becomes the natural art and making it natural of collecting them. You have an interaction. I know I was the weirdo when I first started selling, and I was like, I got to grow my database. And it was, or if I had a conversation, I'm like, oh my gosh, somehow it became, I was a realtor.
Yeah.
So then I think most of the time people feel like they're going to be annoying. They don't want to be salesy. They don't want to attack these people. It does not have to be that at all. It can be, hey, happy birthday. The goal is just to cast your net so that at any time, we don't know when they're going to buy or sell. They're going to tell you, potentially, they're going to tell you, agents, that, oh, I'm not buying for at least 2 years. But if their dream home comes around in 6 months, they're going to buy it. And they're going to make a move.
Because the reality is we don't choose when life shows up.
No.
We can have all plans in place to move in 6 months, 9 months, or 12 months, but who's to say a job relocate won't come?
You have triplets and you need extra space.
A move can be prompted unexpectedly, and We know through NAR that 80% of buyers and sellers say they will use the same agent for their next move. We also know less than 20% do. So your job is to stay top of mind for when that expected or unexpected move happens.
100. And that's the thing is I think back to my realtor who helped me buy my first house, Shauna Brooks, here at KW. I joined her later. But she never didn't stay in touch. I still have her calendar on my refrigerator and I utilize it. But it's one where she was my first call when I was getting my license because she stayed in touch, because often you leave the table and I was like, oh, I love them so much. And as an agent also, I feel like you're at the top of the peak where you guys love each other. You've been in a relationship for, months potentially with these people in their group text with their spouse, like whole nine. And then the very next day, you're not that they hate you. You just don't need each other right now. So the whole goal is to get them back up there and remember it's you. It becomes like, what's a brand of soda? Pepsi or Coke, always. What's a brand of tissue? Kleenex. You have to be there, Kleenex. I knew you would because I would have said great value. But it's one of those where you got to be the Kleenex, man. So it becomes like, what are the things without being annoying, like, hey, we're by house, that you can do just to stay top of mind. So when they hear somebody, then it becomes, hey, I know somebody. Let me look them up. I know I have something from them.
Yeah.
And then you do.
One thing I know agents need to be a little bit more mindful of is that sometimes we can fall into the trap of we know we need a system for something. And so we spend days, weeks, months trying to build the most perfect system before we take action.
Yeah.
And you fall into the trap of getting ready to get ready to get ready. And then before you know it, you're in the second, maybe even third quarter of the year and you've not done anything because you were just, well, it had to be perfect. I can be guilty of that.
Oh,
I think to start, you just need to start somewhere. For me, one of the easiest things to think about it is in a numbers perspective. That 36 touch that Gary wrote about in Millionaire Real Estate Agent is so simple in theory because out of 36 touches for the year, I know I can take 4 of those to be phone calls, right? You should be calling your database 4 times a year. You should be sending out at least 12 to 16 email messages, whether it's newsletter, market center updates, homeowner tips. There should be note cards. There should be birthday cards. I think one thing that agents should start leveraging, your database is the biggest source for your business. One of the other big lead generation sources, one of the top ones rather, they're events. Agents
100%.
participating or creating an event, whether it's, you could get really grand and do a night out at the Indians game. You could do something smaller and do photos with Santa.
But I think some people get caught up in that where it's like, I can't afford this and it has to be grand or whatever.
Doesn't have to be expensive.
It could be your town is doing the trunk or treat and you're going to invite all of your database to that where you're going to have a table amongst everybody else and it's free.
We just get concerned, to your point earlier, that we're going to be a bother or we're going to be a nuisance. If you're coming from a place of contribution, you're providing value, it's well received on the other end, and that's an easier touch for you to make on your end. If you're calling someone to invite them for cookies with Santa, oh my goodness, that's fantastic. If you're doing a pop by at their house with a Valentine's Day gift basket, like these can be touches that are valuable that don't feel like a sales call.
I used to have the most fun when I was on Shauna's home team when I first started. We dressed up. I was Santa. And then we put, I had an elf and a reindeer, Shauna and Jess Riley. And we hopped in the sleigh and we just delivered little candles.
Yeah.
Cheap. But on there, it just said Shauna's home team. And we just hit houses and we had the best day and got the best response. People love when you think about them. That's it.
Yeah, handwritten cards are easy too. Sometimes the question becomes, well, I don't know what to say. That's why having that social media direct link is really good for your database because, boy, does that give you insight into what's going on in somebody's life. How great would it be if you were the realtor that sent a congratulatory card to the son or daughter of your client, former client, past client, future client, when they won a basketball tournament this weekend or a championship for their softball team? That really stands out and makes it look like you're truly trying to build relationships and you care about your people and that it's not just transactional.
Well, And that's a system. No, it's not beautifully written on a paper, but as you're doom scrolling, as we all do, and you see something, screenshot that bad boy. Oh, look, they're having their first grandchild. Screenshot it and then send it to yourself in an email because you're laying in bed probably. And the next day, I learned this from an agent, Katie Zirkelbach. She does sends out 5 things or 5 calls or texts or whatever and has to hit that number or 5 cards every morning. And that's how she starts her morning. So then if you think about it, you're scrolling and you see these things that morning, start with your 5 cards and it's already written for you. You know what you're going to say or whatever that may be. That's a system.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to have a shiny bow on it.
Right. Yeah. If you're confused and not knowing where to start or what that system looks like, just do the most simplest one. Do the 36 touch.
Mm-hmm. It's so easy. And back in the day, before, at KW we have Command, before we had all those beautiful things that automated a lot of that, the smart plans and follow-up,
Yeah.
I had a drawer that had 1 through 31 days of the month. And in that drawer was a piece of paper of who I needed to contact as that was their turn on my 36 touch.
Yeah.
And so that's as simple as it could be. I don't care if you use a Rolodex. It does not matter what system you use or what platform you use. A pen and paper is a system. So I think people overcomplicate the whole thought of having a system. Another system, you're going to do 3 posts or 3 social media things a week. Like I started this in January where I was like, every day I'm going to post a video. I don't care. And it's just a 1-minute video. Easy. Whatever's happening in my head. And even got the thing on my car window dash so that I could do videos while I drive because that's when I have time.
Yeah.
And that's content. A lot of my business when I first started selling was social media. So then I was like, that became my system. I collected people to put in my database system and then on a 36 touch follow-up plan from social media. I would share my app. I got put in Facebook jail every other day in 2017. And because that was my system at the time. That and my folders on my desk. So what I would do is I would, as fast as I could, message everyone in my social media group because it became, those are people I went to high school with. Those are people I know, love, trust in some way, know me. And I was like, I don't have their info. I need to get their info. That's who needs to be in my database.
Right.
And it took, in social media, kind of put a veil where it wasn't so weird where I called them first to say, hey, can I have your phone number and your email address? But that was my connection to them. So then I used to do it so fast and then I would get tagged for soliciting. And then I got put in Facebook jail for 24 hours. I don't know what the rules are anymore. Maybe it's not like that. But that's what I did. And then as soon as they would break me out of jail, I'd do it again. So it began, that's how you collect that people you may know. I know but you're right. I do know of them. And I got business because it was, if you come across authentic and yourself and approachable, those people that do know of you, even if you haven't talked to them in 20 years, they're going to see your stuff.
Yeah.
Then you can collect them, put them in your database, and then you're going to be their first call. That's as simple as it was, just staying top of mind. So that could be a system.
Right.
Where you schedule it out on your social medias, or you just make a plan where you time block that you're going to shoot a video at this time, whatever that may be. And I'm sorry, but ChatGPT and Google and YouTube, you can rip off and duplicate. We call it R&D. Rip off and duplicate these other systems from other people and just use that and execute. Don't think so hard about it. Just do. Because that's the problem is people just freeze and they think about it too much. And then, I don't look good. It doesn't matter. It does not matter.
Yeah.
Just do the activity so that you will get the results. What is one action they should take today to set the momentum for the rest of the year?
Yeah, so I think one way that can really help you get out of the a lot of agents will tend to look at their database of who they need to call next.
I do this.
And they see a name and they're like, I don't really want to call that person today.
I do this every day.
And we procrastinate. So one way to overcome that, if you will, you can utilize something called the DTD2. Do the database twice. This eliminates attempts to eliminate that that hesitation in calling certain people in your database. Because in reality, we know we need to call our database 4 times a year. So with the DTD2, essentially what you would do is look at your database. You can use tags depending on the CRM that you use. That's what our system allows for tags. Tag them by the first letter of their last name. And then there is a DTD2 outline that says, okay, on this day, call everyone with the last name starting with this letter and this letter. It's 2 last names, two letters a day, and they're balanced enough to where you're not calling R's and S's in the same day.
Right.
But that way you just look at that list. These are my people I'm calling today. You make the call, you leave the voicemail, and then the next task is scheduled for whatever makes sense if you are doing the 36 touch along with it. But that DTD2, I think, is a really good takeaway. It's something that you can start doing right now just to re-engage your database.
Yes.
And if you don't have that alphabet outline, we've got that on hand.
Oh, yes. Hit us up. We'll get it to you. But I will say I'm one of those people where I see something, this big audacious goal or like this big, I'm going to work my database better. And then I immediately like freeze. I think, do they call it executive dysfunction? Maybe?
No.
Maybe. So my TikTok algorithm told me.
I don't have that.
But anyways, but it's one of those where bite-sized pieces help me. How do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. So it's one of those where if your elephant is your database, that should be 210 contacts plus.
201 or more to get to 119,000 in GCI.
210. I just developed something new. That was bad. 201.
201.
But it's one of those where if you have those 2 letters and they do balance it like this, and we can share that with them, but it's balanced, then that's all you have to do. That is it. If you don't do anything else, they give you, and it's not like it's going to be 500 names likely. The way that they're broken up depending on how big your database is. But it's one where like, all right, you're calling these 2. That's easy. Just do it. And then, so I relate to this whole thing of getting like overcomplicated it or freezing or whatever in this big, and I'm one that like as soon as I see name, I'm just like, oh, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna say? When people are probably like, oh, you probably have no problem doing that. And so I have to hype myself up, and I don't care what that is. Like, build your bunker, hype yourself up, lock yourself in so that you're doing it and just be like, you know what? Forget it. What are they gonna say? That I'm an idiot? No, unlikely. Maybe behind my back. But not in your face. It's not gonna be bad. Just get it out of the way. Eat that frog first, baby.
Frog?
It's a book. It's on my bookshelf.
Oh, I thought we were talking about elephants.
So I like, not. Why are all of my things about eating frogs and elephants? I don't eat frogs or elephants.
What's your takeaway? Or like, what would be your, outside of like calling the database, what would be your one action item?
So I feel like I'm talking to myself in this whole thing, like that I'm getting excited about, or it's like, Libby, that's exactly what you should do. But it's just do. Stop thinking about it. Stop making it perfect. What have I told Autumn? And I do this because Autumn is, and you're a little bit like this too, but Autumn, our marketing girl, she is a perfectionist and she's wonderful at design and stuff. But it's one of those where I'm looking at her and I go, it's fine. Get it. Go. Done's better than perfect. And obviously that's my personality big time. And I need someone to pull me back occasionally. But I would say if you throw those wheels on the cart and that cart gets a little bit down the road and breaks down, you are further along than when you started.
Yeah.
So fix it later and keep evolving and keep adjusting as you learn.
Right.
But take action and do it. Post a video. Reach out to someone on social media. Make sure the next conversation you have in the Walmart checkout line, they know you're a realtor and get their information. That's it. Just do something because it all matters.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I got. So our last thing is, if you are looking for someone to walk alongside you in doing this reset, in getting over the overwhelm, resetting your database, rebooting your database, like the class that Jessica's Riddle teaching this month, reach out to us.
Yeah.
We are consultants more than we are anything.
Right.
So reach out to us. We have resources. We have books written that break it down how to do it. The MREA, Millionaire Real Estate Agent. But that's what we want to help you with. So please reach out. And if you want the recording of Jessica Riddle's Reboot Your Database class, let us know.
It's going to be a doozy.
And, family reunions this month. So family reunion is our big convention, and it's in Atlanta. And the speaker lineup's killer. But this is where top agents come who have done these huge, big things and created these big systems. They come, and they typically have a one-pager that says exactly how to duplicate it. So we're going to come back from that with all of those one-pagers and playbooks. I want to do this. I want to do that, and exactly how to execute it. Let us know if you want those too.